Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Jeff Moore here with Bedford Camera. It is PhotoCon. This beautiful young lady sitting next to me, Zabrina Deng. Such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Seen your work, and I would have to say, your wedding photography and all your work regarding that just looks so enchanted, just like a fairy tale.
Thank you,
so
Jeff.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
How do you just kind of come up with the thought process of the clients, and how do you do it?
I think, well, deep down in me, and I'm still a little girl that dream of having this kind of crazy, whimsical and fairy tale kind of wedding. And I think this kind of little girl in me, it exists in every single female that I've come across too. So that's why part of what our photography philosophy is to create this very romantic, very fairy tale, and very kind of dream-ish, like fantasies, kind of photo shoot for them. So that's why when we do these sessions around the world and also shooting destination wedding, we want to add the very romantic quality to our photograph.
I read that one of your favorite places is Paris.
Yes,
right there.
yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, Paris. Well, it's a long story, but when my husband and we first went to Paris back in 2007, we did not have a good time because I don't know why. Maybe there was a subway strike or something. It went on for 7 days. So, and every day when we were in Paris, we were just kind of grumpy, and we have to walk 3 hours from our hotel to an attraction. And once we get to the attraction, it was closed too. And since then, actually, we didn't have a good impression with Paris. But then, because of photography, we went back to Paris in 2011 to attend a photography workshop with Scott Robert Lim, and who is my current mentor right now. And since then, Paris has become this terrible, sucky place to become this very romantic and really interesting, and because I got many great images from that workshop. So that just maybe is a huge turning point, 360 change. So just from this perception of not very romantic city to be a very romantic city, it's all because of wedding photography and attending this workshop with Scott Robert Lim.
Yeah, and speaking of Lim, that's how you got your start. You attended one of his workshops, and it just grew out from there.
Yeah. So in 2008, and I think he was looking for a translator for his to organize and help him find models, I think in China, for a China workshop, and he doesn't speak Chinese at all. So I applied for helping him, and I've asked if me and my husband, we can come along, if we can translate and help you organize and then find models for you for your workshop. And that was really starting point of our wedding photography. And then before then, we only have a very entry-level DSLR. We barely know how to use a camera setting. But in that 1 week in China, in Beijing, we do nothing but sleep, breathe, and talk about photography 24/7 because of that. And I think that was really a turning point for our photography career, from an amateur to be somewhat wanting to go pro. And then from that point, and we start shooting for our friends and photographing portraits and cats and dogs and children's and just everything.
Just anything that you could get too,
exactly,
right?
yeah, after the workshop. And then we start shooting wedding professionally because we get more and more demand after attending that workshop in 2008. So that's where it all begins in 2008.
Well, I was to say that's a good job of networking there, just to kind of get your foot in the door for that.
Exactly.
So, now, for a lot of folks who are attending today, and for a lot of folks who might attend a workshop in the future, what would be your encouraging words about workshops?
I would think if you save up money to attend just one workshop of a lifetime, it needs to be an international one, because once you're outside of your own country or outside of your own comfort zone, you kind of have a different feel, and you do things differently, and you ditch all your work email and maybe text messages from your family too. Just kidding, but minus the family part. But it's because once you're in a completely different environment, you're kind of starting from zero in terms of learning things. And it's when things are very fresh to you, and I think even with learning photography, it's just you're like a huge sponge that can absorb much more than when you are taking the same thing in your own city. I don't know, maybe because I love travel, but I just think that like just taking an international workshop, that gives me a perception of what my life could be if, you know, I'm doing this thing internationally, not just in my hometown, not just in one city. I mean, perhaps I can take the photography in Paris, in China, in Vietnam, in just anywhere, like, you know, the world is my backdrop, and just want to see where photography can take me. So that's why.
It's an opportunity to think outside
exactly,
your box.
Exactly,
okay.
yeah. Because then you don't get like all these like distraction too from like, you know, work or maybe learning from your hometown too. You know, like, you know, your kids or wife and wanted something from you, like you have to be there within an hour, within like I don't know, 30 minutes or something. But when you're actually out, it's like, because your mind, like you devote to this
no
photography thing,
distractions,
yeah,
right?
for
Okay.
100%. So I find that is probably one of the best learning experience, and plus you get to like develop a really great like community through that trip, and everybody you know from that workshop. For example, like everybody we know from 2008 went to Beijing. We still stay very good friends, and we're like brothers and sisters in the photography family. So that's why I think it's very important to at least to take this one trip of a lifetime to see where photography can take you. Yeah.
Well, as far as just like a small photo conference like this one or an international one, it just kind of comes down to just taking that first step.
Right, exactly. And plus attending this conference, I mean, it gives you exposure to like what photography can lead you to, because we have awesome, like, you know, photographers from different brands, different trades, you know, like, you know, weddings and like portraits and sports and landscape, and you can figure out like which area that you're interested in. So it brings you to like all these exposure. So I think this is a great event that you guys are organizing.
Well,
yeah.
I know that your husband has attended this with you, and we're glad to have him here along. But with him being also your partner in crime, both of you have a unique name to your studio. What is it?
We're Jezza.
Yeah,
okay. Like Jeremy and Zabrina.
You'll probably see it down below in graphic on, you know, the website there. So
Jezza.
Zabrina Deng, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you tonight.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.